How to receive divine help when you're desperately seeking it. Have you ever woken up at night, in the middle of the night, maybe in tears, maybe crying, maybe distraught or angry or in fear, and you've been asking for help and didn't know where and how to find the solution to whatever situation you found yourself in, and how to make your life better? One of my clients requested help from the divine in the form of a spiritual mentor. She literally said, I am requesting, I need a new spiritual mentor. And very shortly, I showed up on her horizon and I became her spiritual mentor. And another client of mine was speaking in front of the group, and she said, I am ready to go home. And 2 weeks later, she was at my event, and I was talking about going home. So, of course, immediately she became my client without hesitation. And then the third one was, in my examples, was talking to her friend who at that time was working with me and having a great progress. And so this lady was seeking spiritual help elsewhere and couldn't really find it on that deep level. So she saw how her friend was getting progress, and this person decided that she wanted to have me as her spiritual mentor. And she came to me and immediately and became my we started working together. Why am I giving you these examples? Because these are exceptions to the rule, because these people actually ask for help to the divine. When the help arrived, when I showed up on the horizon somehow in any shape or form, they recognized that help and they were willing to accept that help by becoming my clients. And so um, it was easy for both sides, for me and for that client, to start working together because they were aware. But majority of people, and by the way, before I go there, I just say, as a spiritual self-awareness mentor, I know that when somebody makes her way to me as a client, they had usually asked already for help somewhere, somehow, at some time, and then I show up on their horizon somehow because I am sent as help, as divine help to them through me. And so that's how it usually works. Therefore, but majority of people operate in a different way, unfortunately. And I'm going to share that with you so you could be aware. What if you do that, or maybe you don't? I don't know, but here it is. So majority of people wake up in the middle of the night in fear, in tears, distraught, and start asking for help, for example. And next day, they go around about their day without even thinking. They do not know when help arrives, and they don't accept it, and they don't see it, they don't recognize it. So they continue begging for help at night and becoming angry and angry because they feel that nobody can hear them, that God doesn't hear them, and God doesn't answer to their plea or their prayers, and they're all alone and there is no way out. So they're getting more desperate and more desperate and more desperate, or they just feel tired and exhausted and they don't know how to go about it, how to solve it, so they continue living this way. And there are three moments here that you need to recognize or remember or be aware about. So the first one, when you ask for help, know that first of all, you need to ask for help, because if you don't ask for help, you have a free will. Therefore, if you don't ask, you don't get it. So you need to ask for help. So even when you're in the middle of the night begging for help, that's fine because you're asking for help. That's one. The second one, you have to recognize when help arrives, because it will not arrive in the form of a burning bush. It will not be right in front of your face as God itself standing in front of you, because God doesn't even have the body. So God is not going to stand in front of you and say, and with a trumpet saying, arise, God, help has come. And therefore, number two, you have to recognize it. And number three, you need to accept it. If you recognize that it's help and it feels right, but you're not willing to accept help, well, how can you be helped, right? So these three requirements have to be met. And a lot of people either don't recognize the help, or they don't know that their plea for help is heard. And number three, they don't want to change, so they're not going actually to um, accept help. And another moment, they do not know that every single word is heard in the outside world, meaning in a light octave of light, because we are, whatever we say here, whatever we think, all our intimate thoughts and all our desires and all our requirements actually very heard very well. And we're not alone, because we're always connected to the spirit world, and the spirit world always can hear us. And that's why help arrives, and very fast, usually very fast. But one of my clients, it took her 7 years. She recognized help at the beginning when she asked for a mentor. She recognized when I showed up, because according to her words, I was glowing right in her face. But it took her 7 years to accept that help. She did accept, luckily, and it's all history now. But that's also how it shows that we have a free will. So if we don't accept, we won't get it. Remember Bruce Almighty movie? If you watched that movie at the beginning, you might remember that Bruce was very, very angry, very distraught. Nothing was going how he wanted. So he wanted his way. He was pushing and pushing. And he at that particular moment, he was driving in a car and praying to God for help. God, show me the way, Bruce was saying. And as he was repeating, God, show me the way, he had no idea that the help arrived immediately, because he was driving behind the truck, and the truck had a stop sign, big letter stop, right in front of Bruce's face. And Bruce was so distraught and so ignorant about spiritual workings of things that he didn't recognize it, that it was divine help telling him to stop his destructive behavior. But he didn't, and we know that that's how the movie progressed. I recently watched a movie by Hallmark Channel. It's called A Shoe Addict Christmas. It's a good movie to watch. Women, I'm sure, though, especially those who like shoes, will like it. But I would like to share a story. It's actually a famous story. It's not only from this movie, but I think the version from that movie is great. So I would like to share that story. And if you remember that, if you watch that movie, Charlie is explaining spiritual workings of things to Noelle. And so Charlie is saying, there was a Christmas Eve great blizzard, and snow was coming down very hard, and a man got trapped in the snow. A few minutes, so he asked God for help. And a few minutes later, here comes the sleigh with a jolly fellow in the sleigh. And the sleigh stopped, and the fellow invited the man to get on board, get on the sleigh, and to take him to safety. But the man refused. He said, I have great faith in God, and God will save me. The fellow left, and time continues, snow rising, and the man gets trapped even more. So that jolly fellow arrives again and invites the man again to get on a slave and ride to safety. But the man responds, no, I have faith and God will save me. Well, you can guess what will happen next. The fellow leaves, then snow continues. The man is not saved. He is in that snow, trapped up to the chin, and he cannot even get out anymore. And so the sleigh arrives last time again. And all of that continues, the invitation. But the man says the same thing, insisting that God will save him. So the man declined the sleigh ride, insisting that God will save him. So the slave list disappears, snow continues, the man finally passed. He is welcomed to heaven by God, and he stands in front of God, and they're having conversation. So the man says, God, I had strong faith in you. Why didn't you save me? And God replies, what are you talking about? I sent the sleigh 3 times. So the moral of the story is, when the sleigh comes to your way, especially when the sleigh comes in response to your prayer or request, you don't even know. Sometimes it's so just hidden. You just ask and you didn't even think about it twice. But the sleigh arrives to get you into safety, but you don't recognize it. So you avoid getting onto that slate. You decline the help. And so the point is, when you get a sleigh, climb on board and ride to safety. And that's the message for today. Think about it. If you ever ask for help, remember, first of all, that divine will always hear you. You are never alone. Every thought, every feeling, everything is very well known to your divine self. Second of all, divine self always sends help, and so that help will arrive shortly. However, the third point, help does not arrive in the form of divine self standing in all glory right in front of you. It will not happen. The burning bush will not happen right in front of you, but help will arrive in the shape or form of other humans, of circumstances, of events, and it is up to you to recognize that that's your help. And the last point, not only because you ask for help, well, you need to be willing to accept that help. And a lot of times you think it's one way, but divine works in mysterious ways, and help will arrive often not how you expected it. But it's the best way for you to receive that solution, because divine knows much more about your situation that you know about yourself. And therefore, you have to trust that divine knows, and divine provides the best help available for you at this point. But your goal is to climb on board of the sleigh and ride to safety. And that means you have to accept help. And that's all for today. So just remember, when you follow the divine, money will follow you. When you serve the divine, money will serve you. Bye for now.